For more on the Paris investigation and the response to the attack, we turn again to former CIA Deputy Director Michael Morell. He is CBS News senior security contributor. Michael, good morning again. Following up on that report from Mr. Nesbitt, what is the intelligence community and the law enforcement community doing to respond? What are they looking for, and how will they accomplish it?
So we really need to understand how they were able to carry out this operation. It's a very complicated operation, multiple operatives. You have to get explosives, you have to get weapons, communication among a large number of people, figure out how they did this and how they stayed under the radar. One of the important reasons to catch some of the guys who are out there still, particularly this potential mastermind, is to find out how they did all of that.
What's the significance of that terrorist sleeper cell operating in Belgium for a period of time?
So it's clear that there could be sleeper cells elsewhere, right? That's what it tells you. It happens to be in a community in Belgium that where this kind of potential is, but that potential exists in Paris, in London, in
New York.
No, I wouldn't say New York. I wouldn't say New York, right? The integration of Muslims in the United States is much better than it is in Europe. So I think there's a difference.
You had said over the weekend about President Assad of Syria being involved. You didn't say he was the solution, but he should be part of the solution. That raised a lot of hackles for a lot of people. What exactly do you mean by that?
So here's my concern. My concern is that if President Assad were to leave the scene without a new government emerging that everybody supports, everybody is behind, then there is a real risk that the institutions of government in Syria, particularly the military, the security service, the intelligence service, could fall apart, and we could end up with a much more unstable situation like we have in Libya.
But that's just the warning Vladimir Putin has been making.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Let me turn to the point we raised earlier, which is the U.S. policy. And you said that somebody has to tell the president it's wrong.
To look him in the eye.
Look him in the eye. Who can do that? And how hard is it to say to the president, you're wrong?
So one of the responsibilities of the leaders of the intelligence community, so the director of national intelligence and the director of CIA, is to be able to have a good enough relationship with the president to be able to have that conversation, right? That is one of their responsibilities. And I don't know what they've been telling him.
What if they don't think he's wrong, Mike?
Well, then they're obviously not telling him that, right? But look, given what I have seen and given my experience, I would be telling him that.
You'll be saying now your strategy is wrong and you should do what?
That's the policy conversation that then has to take place.
Could you help us understand what I've got a lot of emails from friends over the weekend. What does ISIS want? What do they want?
That's a great question, and there's an idea out there, right? The conventional wisdom is that they simply want this caliphate in Iraq and Syria. No, they want that caliphate worldwide, right? Including here in the United States. What does that mean? It means we all live under their very extreme religious rules about how you should conduct your life day to day.
It's a real law and all that.
So we're talking about developing a new strategy, the president meeting with world leaders, what that strategy should be, whether it means more boots on the ground, more intelligence, whatever it may be. Let me ask you about comparisons to al-Qaeda. With Osama bin Laden, we cut off the head of the snake, as the CIA described it, right? He was involved in the planning of the 9/11 attacks. What about the search for al-Baghdadi, who is the leader of ISIS? Is he personally directing these attacks, these sleeper cells?
So he's a very hands-on leader, so that I suspect he is. It's a very hierarchical organization, so the leadership matters here a lot. One of the things we learned dealing with al-Qaeda is that one of the key ways, probably the most important way to degrade a terrorist organization is to decapitate it, get rid of its leadership. And the way you do that is taking these guys off the battlefield in rapid succession, 1 or 2 a week, right? Not 1 or 2 every 3 months.
But shouldn't we assume, I mean, is it wrong to assume that we have special forces or CIA or already in Syria working on this very issue?
The key way of finding the guys in order to take them off the battlefield is having the intelligence to know where they are, at what time, right?
Infiltrating.
But my impression is the administration would say to this, Mike, that's exactly what we have been doing.
I don't think we're doing enough of it. I don't think our intelligence is good enough, right? I don't think we're taking enough action. Otherwise, we wouldn't be removing a leader once every 3-4 months. We'd be removing 2 a week.
You've raised the thing about terrorists going dark and essentially using their phones and these encrypted apps to communicate. Are they using those same, not only in Belgium and in France and perhaps other places, are they using those in Syria and Iraq to communicate?
Yes, absolutely.
So what do we need to do, Mike, to keep ourselves safe? Everyone keeps saying you can't live in fear. I don't know how you not live in fear when you see what's going on in the world.
So I think a little bit of fear is a good thing, right? It keeps your attention up, keeps you focused. I think too much fear is the terrorist winning. So I think one of the responsibilities of the leadership of the countries in the West is to find the right balance there between helping people understand what the risks are, but not affecting the way they live day to day.
Why is the intelligence so bad?
Because it's not easy to collect intelligence in a denied area, right? It's not easy to collect intelligence in a war zone, right? We're not on the ground in an embassy, right, in the middle of the Islamic Caliphate. So developing human sources takes a lot of time. I'm absolutely confident it's going to get better. It's already gotten better, but it needs to be a lot better.
And that's what you need to pick off these leaders.
Yes, exactly.
Does it mean we might have to give up some of our privacy for security?
I think we're going to have that debate again, right? And I think it is going to end up with more of a focus on security rather than privacy.
You have talked about, I mean, this is a game changer. Let's not forget the Beirut bombings. Let's not forget the downing of a Russian airplane and now Paris. Their reach is global.
We are at a new place that we haven't been before, right? From two perspectives. One is their ability now to reach out and attack us where we live. And two, the types of targets they've chosen. So traditionally, Al-Qaeda went after big symbolic targets, right?
The Pentagon, the World Trade Center.
Exactly. ISIS, went after government targets, military targets, Charlie Hebdo. You can't sympathize with that, but you understand it, right? But when you go after targets where people conduct their lives every day, right, it creates a new dynamic.
This is going to be embarrassing to you, Mike, but I just want to say it. There's a political blog called Playbook, says, "Good morning. The sharpest TV analyst on the Paris massacre has been Michael Morell, Deputy CIA Director under Obama, and now with Beacon Global Strategies." So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
I don't think that's embarrassing at all. I like that. Thank you, Michael Morell. I'm glad you're at this table.